On May 3rd, 2023, the final installment of Guardians of the Galaxy is hitting theaters. With the trilogy coming to its end and the rumor of an intense emotional finale, moviegoers are eager to learn everything needed to prepare for the upcoming film. So, here's everything we know about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 so far. The first film in the Guardians of the Galaxy trio was a surprise hit, bringing MCU fans into the theater and raking in $773 million worldwide. Of course, with those kinds of numbers, it's no surprise that director James Gunn wanted to make sure more of the Guardians stories were told. Gunn hasn't had an easy road to the third installment of the franchise, however. Back in 2018, Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. After decade-old tweets from Gunn were unearthed, Disney made the decision to release Gunn from his directorial duties. About a year later, however, Gunn was reinstated to his role after his public apology that had Disney decide to revert the decision. Gunn's gratefulness to be leading the third Guardians of the Galaxy will undoubtedly reflect in the level of cinema fans can expect to see. While James Gunn recently broke the news he was moving from the MCU to DC as co-chair of DC Studios, he made sure the public was aware he poured his heart and soul into the final chapter in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. When asked about the film, Gunn said, "The reason why I needed to finish this is because I love the character Rocket more than any character I've ever dealt with before." James stressed the importance of Rocket's story, saying, "I needed to finish his story. That's what Volume 3 is about. I absolutely needed to do it." Rocket Raccoon, the feisty mercenary, voiced by Bradley Cooper, is one of the beloved Guardians and clearly holds the hearts of many, even his director. Rocket is one of the few adored Guardians returning to our screens for the final film. Rocket, however, is the main Guardian whom this film will be focusing on. Rocket has had a varied and adventurous time in the MCU, beginning with joining the Guardians, then being taken to Earth by Thor, then joining the Avengers and remaining on Earth for years, helping the Avengers find the Infinity Stones. Then, after the defeat of Thanos, rejoining the Guardians and making a home base with them on the planet of Nowhere. But what do we know about Rocket's origin story? The mouthy and weapon-savvy raccoon is whom the Guardians rely on to keep their plans and lives together. Rocket is truly the thread that keeps his Guardian family tied together. And while we don't know a lot about Rocket in the films, we do get a bit of his backstory from the Guardians of the Galaxy comics. Rocket is native to a planet called Half-World that was used to house the galaxy's mentally ill individuals. The galaxy decided that rather than care for the individuals themselves, they'd program robots to do the work for them. This worked just fine, until an exploding star's radiation-filled fallout caused the robots' behaviors to change. They decided they no longer wanted to care for the mentally ill individuals. Instead of letting the duties fall to the wayside, the robots genetically engineered the pets of the individuals to turn them from companions of their owners into caretakers. This is where Rocket Raccoon's story begins, and is about as much as we know about our lovable, hot-tempered, furry friend. The only acknowledgement of his past that Rocket has been given was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. Rocket yells at Peter in a drunken stupor, telling him he didn't ask to be made. He goes on to tell Peter he was torn apart and put back together again, and again, and again. So it's pretty clear Rocket's past is not a happy one. It's no wonder that James Gunn wants to use his final film in the MCU and the final chapter in Guardians of the Galaxy to focus on the tragic events that led Rocket to becoming the glue that holds the Guardians together. Only time will tell if Gunn chooses to remain true to Rocket's comic-written backstory, or adapt it as he did with other MCU characters, perhaps putting a whole new spin on Rocket's past. In a recently released clip, Rocket and 3 other medically engineered animals lay in enclosures. The genetically enhanced animals are creations of the High Evolutionary. The heart-wrenching clips show the 4 friends discussing what their real names will be, when and if they make it outside for the first time ever. An otter, referred to as 89Q12, decides she would like to be called Lilla. Her friends support her, assuring her it's a beautiful name. A hint that Gunn may maintain some of Rocket's backstory from the comics is the friendly walrus comrade laying in another cage, while this walrus decides he wants to be called Teefs. In the comics, Rocket's original sidekick was a walrus referred to as Wal-Rus. So while not the exact same details, similar enough for fans to have an inkling of what to expect for Rocket's on-screen story. Aside from Rocket's story playing a big part in Volume 3, what else can we look forward to seeing our Guardians up against? Well, first of all, Gamora is back. After meeting her untimely end at the hands of Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, Gamora was brought back to life in Endgame. The catch? She was actually brought back from the past before she had met the Guardians, which means she has no memory of being part of the gang. This will make for some interesting on-screen chemistry, or lots of headbutting between Peter and his former once-deceased, now alive again, true love. In one of the trailers released for the third installment, the Guardians have visited another strange planet. This time, they're somewhere that resembles Earth, except for the fact that all the inhabitants are hybrid between humans and animals. On this new Earth, after Peter assured the citizens they came in peace, while Drax playfully tries to throw a basketball at a small animal child, hitting it in the face, prompting the Guardians to be pelted by the animal humanoids with rocks. So there's no doubt that Gunn has infused his fun, quirky, and strange style into his last MCU film. But let's not forget, the Guardians will definitely have some pretty frightening odds they're up against. So, what threats do our Guardians find themselves battling to save themselves and the galaxy as they know it? In Volume 2, the arrival of Adam Warlock was heralded in by Aisha the Creator. "I think I shall call him Adam," she says in a post-credit scene, while the golden cocoon that cradles Adam glows a gold hue. Adam Warlock, who will be played by Midsummer's Will Poulter, is a formidable adversary that the Guardians will find themselves up against. Adam was created to be an ideal, perfect specimen of a man by Aisha. As some fans are speculating, this was done so with the help of the High Evolutionary. The reason for this theory being that the High Evolutionary is the one who genetically engineered Rocket Raccoon. The High Evolutionary truly believes Rocket is better post-enhancement. In the comics, Adam Warlock finds it within himself to rally against his inclination towards evil, and only use his unrivaled superpowers for good, assisting the Fantastic Four and the Guardians. Fans are gearing up for his first MCU appearance to lead the way into more of Will Poulter's portrayal of Adam Warlock on screen post-Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Early reviews from Volume 3 have already begun pouring in on Twitter, some stating it's a brilliant end to a brilliant trilogy. Funny, emotional, and everybody gets their standout moment. Others are gearing up for an expected return of Will Poulter's Adam Warlock to the MCU. Some saying they'd happily watch a solo Will Poulter/Adam Warlock film. So far, fans are pleased with the care put into Rocket's story too. His story has been called beautiful and heart-wrenching by those who got a first look at the film. Fans should be prepared with tissues, as most of the reviews have agreed that this installment is nothing if not a tearjerker. So, whatever route Gunn has chosen to take with our Guardians, we know they were in very capable hands for the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.